Good morning, everyone. It is July the 11th, 2026. As you can see by my title today, Heat and the Vulnerable. I'm going to be putting up my own videos, possibly doing it in two parts at least, because it's a lengthy story. This is something that has personally happened to me, so I will not be putting up videos except for myself talking today. And it's interesting because right now, as the world is in turmoil in many different ways, and including climate-wise, climate, because of the difficulties that we're having with the climate change that we're trying to deal with as well, along with all our other problems, and the massive between Earth with the volcanoes, the earthquakes, everything that's hitting us, tornadoes, everything that's hitting us like that. We're also having these prolonged heat waves right now, and I want to talk about how it's affecting the vulnerable, particularly the homeless on our streets. And this is a personal experience that I just ran into earlier this week, and I think it's well worth putting up for people to understand where these vulnerable people on the streets are coming from. And it's kind of a long story. I'm going to go a little bit back in the background on this person that I do know that is homeless, and it goes back to December, and I'm not sure if I put this up on my videos or not, but since Heidi is my service dog, as I talk about Heidi, and she's also dual certified as a service dog for me as well as a therapy dog, so I can take her to deal with people that need therapy as well. And this day in December, just before Christmas, I had been walking through the mall, and I was had to go up floor, so I was taking Heidi towards the elevators. And when I got there, I found there was this young woman. She was in a wheelchair. She looked kind of bad because she was kind of wobbly. It was hard to describe her exactly, but she was not able to do much. She was literally wheelchair bound. And what I found out after was that she had MS, so this is why her muscles and stuff were not fully cooperating with her, even though she was in the wheelchair and she was trying to use her stick to drive this electric wheelchair, which had now apparently run out of juice. And so she asked me when I came up to the elevators if she could pat Heidi, and I said, no problem, you're more than welcome to. So I had Heidi sit. Heidi did her thing with a person in a wheelchair. She just put her head on her lap, so she was able to pat her. Then the young woman asked me if I would be able to wheel her through to the back of the mall, through the mall to the back entrance of the mall, so that she could get someone else at that point to take her somewhere else that she had to go. Because which was very interesting, because I said sure, no problem, not thinking twice about it, because I've never thought twice about helping a person in a wheelchair. So we got in the elevator, and then we got out of the elevator, and then suddenly, oh, how am I going to push this wheelchair when I've got Heidi at my side? So what I ended up doing was I had, since her leash is a very special leash, and it's got two handles on it. It's got a handle at the top and a handle right at the bottom where you clip the leash onto the dog's collar. And so what I ended up doing was I started pushing her, but I put the loop towards me right over my wrist, so while I was pushing the wheelchair. Then I was telling Heidi, go ahead, and she's walking beside the girl in the wheelchair, and she's looking at me because she's a little confused, because normally she is properly walking at my side on a heel. So I'm telling her, good girl, heel, good girl. So she finally thinks, okay, obviously I'm okay. And then this other lady with her more good hand was able to hang on to the handle that was right towards the collar. So then we wheeled through like this, and everybody's looking at us in the mall, and they're separating. Everybody's making sure we have room to get through, and some people are taking pictures of us going through like this. So this is how I met this young woman. Well, the other day, and it's been quite a while since just before Christmas, And the other morning, it was around 10:30 in the morning, I was walking again through the mall. And as I came through the main doors, she spotted me, said, "Oh, I know you. Oh, what's your dog's name again?" And she's trying to talk to me. And this woman, she has a speech impairment as well, so you have to listen to her very carefully with her disability, which is MS. And so you really have to stretch your ears to understand what she's saying. And sometimes you have to ask her to repeat what she's saying so you can understand. And I know that it's frustrating to the person trying to understand her, let alone just how frustrating it must be to her trying to get her to understand what she's saying to me. So it goes both ways here on the frustration. But so I met her that way, and we got talking on the mall, and so we were talking about service dogs, and she just loves Heidi, and Heidi just loves her, and laps up the attention. And so she's asking about service dogs. How did she get a service dog? And I'm trying to explain to her, well, I trained Heidi from the time she was a pup, and that getting a trainer for that way is very expensive per hour to get a trainer. And the only other way is that she'd have to put herself on a list to get a service dog. And I didn't realize at the time that she was fully homeless. And because she was bright, she was chipper in her own way, as I'd seen her in December. And it wasn't like she didn't appear to be on drugs or anything else at that point. And so then she's asking me about, okay, what do I need the service dog for? Now, I don't always tell everybody. I don't have to tell everybody what I have her for, but she does help me for my mobility issues. And then I went on to say, well, for my diabetes, she helps me. And then she happened to mention to me that she had diabetes. So, and then she also mentioned too that because I had PTSD too for the dog, she had PTSD, and I understood the need. But so I didn't have a piece of paper to put down a number where she could reach someone if she was interested in a service dog and how to go about getting a service dog. But I just knew that when I had her in December, when she went out, she was looking for the Youth Services Bureau. That's where she was trying to go. So I assumed they were taking care of her, and maybe she did have a place. I wasn't sure at that point. So anyhow, I went on through my day, did what I had to do with Heidi, and then she left. Then that evening, I had to go and I get some groceries at the grocery store. So I'm going through, I picked up my groceries, they're in my cart. I come up to the cash to pay for my groceries. And I see her here again, on the same day, but she doesn't look like herself at all. And on the first impression, like she was kind of slumped over, very lethargic, not much energy. She was trying to use her little, the thing that directs the wheelchair to get it going and to make it move, and the lever or whatever you want to call it. And she was having a great deal of difficulty. So I stopped and I looked at her, and I realized right away there was something wrong with her because of the heat. We've had a prolonged heat wave for several weeks now, and it doesn't matter. We got out of the 40-some temperatures and even then straight pretty much into the low 30s. But this has been going on for several weeks, so these people are very vulnerable to it, to this kind of temperature change. And then she's trying to go with her wheelchair. She's also got herself stuck, and she's pulling away a shelf unit with the wheelchair beside the cash. But I'm looking at her, and she's and with all the heat and that, you would expect it. Like, I was still sweating myself, and as I was sweating, I noticed that she wasn't sweating. I also noticed that her lips like she was parched, and she was kind of spitting, but it wasn't the same kind of look as a normal person on drugs would be. And so I'm thinking, and automatically when we see these people who are homeless and that, because we live in an area where where the drugs are predominant here, we just automatically assume, oh, the person's on drugs. So she's sitting in the wheelchair, and she's got this drink, and she's just hanging on to it. And as I'm trying to get the shelf off her wheelchair, the security guard from the store comes up, and So we managed to get the shelf put back in place, and then I'm looking at her, and I don't know just quite how we exchanged it, but she, I looked at her, looked at the security guard, and he said she's banned from the mall, that he's got to take her out. And she's banned from the mall, and it appeared that she was trying to steal this bottle, and this bottle was a soft drink bottle, Fanta something or other, and it probably had sugar in it. And she was just hugging it like it was a bar of gold to her. She didn't want to give it up. And being diabetic myself, I suddenly realized what the problem was at that point, that she needed it. So the security guard just said, well, I just called the police, and the police officer was just coming up too to escort her off the mall. And I just turned around and I said, well, I'm not going to have her steal that bottle. I'm realizing that the problem being diabetic myself, I can be in that kind of shape myself if my sugar levels go too low or too high. And I realized it was probably her diabetes that was affecting her, and she absolutely had that drink. So I just turned around there and said, no, she's not stealing it. I'm going to buy it for her, which that was settled. But then she had to be escorted out, and then she said, she mumbling and trying to understand her, she said, can I have another bottle too? She was just desperate, and I understood how desperate she was. So I said, yes, when I go through the cash with my stuff, I'll pick her up another bottle. So the police officer and the security guard escorted her outside the grocery store. So I was going to meet her outside after. So fine, I went through the cash, got everything paid for and everything, the other drink paid for. But by the time I got out there, because when she was in the store, as soon as she knew I was going to pay for it, she quickly undid the lid, and she was trying to gulp it down as fast as she could. So by the time I got out of the store, after paying for everything, she was coming back to life again, literally. And I realized it was most likely the diabetes that was causing the problem. Even though they called the paramedics, and in one moment she said, well, I do want to talk to the paramedics, and then the paramedics, I guess she didn't want to talk to them. So I stayed with her for a little while she finished up the first drink. And then after a while, I could see she was okay. And then I said, but I'm also thinking, okay, where we have all these outreach programs here in Lower Town, like, where are the outreach workers? Because we have another one that I put up on my YouTube channel before. It's called SOS something. And I saw them one day, and they had like 20 wagons, at least. They had a parade of them with people handing out food, handing out drinks, handing out clothing, whatever. And I'm saying, along with our vans from the shelters that go around, looking after these people and handing out water. So I'm wondering, well, where in the world are these people not handing out things for these people? And I realized too that because when I ran into her in the evening, like I ran into her in the morning between 10:30 in the morning. This was now between 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening that I had run into her. So that was quite a long span. And where is she? How is she managing? Yes, you have the drop-in centers, definitely, for food and that during the day. But then everything closes down around 5 o'clock. And then for her to get into one of the shelters, that's what she did say. She did confirm to me that she was homeless. She would have had to wait till 9 o'clock to get into the shelter. So between even being able to maybe get water and stuff between supper time and this span between supper and 9 o'clock in the evening, where does she get water? Where does she get this? Because people do not want to have, they don't let the homeless go in. She was really looking filthy. She was looking clean in the morning when I saw her, but she was now looking much more filthy. Whether she spilled something over herself, could be because of her MS. That would make some sense right there. But I'm wondering, where are these people? And with these SOS, when you have 20 people with wagons, they were supposed to be spread all over the place. All over our section of the ward and in Lower Town, and I didn't see anybody. So I made sure when I left her at the time, I had to leave her at the time, and she said, "Could you call someone?" And unfortunately, it was one of those crazy times where I was in a hurry to get out the door and I actually forgot my phone. So I didn't have my phone on me. But I had to get back to the house as it was because I had some stuff that I had to put in the freezer from the grocery store. So I left her and she was fine. She was talking more coherently, even though she did have the speech impairment. She was looking much brighter. She didn't look like she was on drugs at that point, fortunately. So I got her perked up, and at least I made sure she was in a spot, and with her wheelchair that was out of battery, out of juice by this time, could be spotted by one of our outreach workers, and hopefully she did connect with one of our outreach workers. But it makes you wonder what's going on down here. Why are the vulnerable being left out? And why are these people, the most vulnerable of all, not housed? Literally. So I'm going to leave that part of the video because it's getting kind of long, but I'm probably going to put a second part into this because I'm not finished with what I have to say. So I'm going to leave it there just for the moment, and I will talk to you soon, and be safe, watch your surroundings, and for goodness sakes, watch out for other people, and don't just assume as well that this person's on drugs when they may not be on drugs as well. So I'm going to leave it there, everyone. Take care, and we'll talk again soon, and bye-bye.